Carbon footprint matter of huge concern of the world today. The yearly yield of carbon discharge is 25 billion tons. Let's take a pledge to reduce this amount by 1 billion tons per year. Let me introduce with carbon footprint. A carbon footprint is the aggregate sum of ozone-harming substance discharges that originate from the production, use, and end of life of an item or administration. It incorporates carbon dioxide, the gas most ordinarily discharged by people and others, including methane, nitrous oxide, and fluorinated gases, which trap heat in the atmosphere, causing a dangerous atmospheric deviation. Any idea how to calculate the carbon footprint? Estimating your carbon emanations offers a predictable, precise, and straightforward glance at the measure of carbon your business makes. You can quantify your emanations by figuring your carbon impression, which is the all-out yield of greenhouse gas emissions discharges brought about by an association, occasion, item, or individual. While ascertaining a carbon footprint, plenty of elements are thought about. For instance, heading to the market consumes a specific measure of fuel, and petroleum products are the essential wellsprings of nurseries' gases. Secondly, the natural products, vegetables, and meats that the store sells were completely developed or raised on ranches, a procedure that produces methane, which has a nursery impact multiple times more noteworthy than CO2. Those components must be joined to comprehend the full carbon impression of a given movement. How might you decrease your carbon impression? The most ideal approach is to diminish your footprint and add to your condition by embracing these techniques. 1. Quit eating, or eat less, meat. The strongest effort one can make to combat climate change is to avoid eating beef. Merely restricting your use of animal products could have a profound effect. Ozone-depleting substance emanations from agribusiness are a considerably more serious issue than petroleum products. 2. Unplug your devices. You may be astonished to discover that all gadgets suck vitality when they're connected, even if they're shut down. Whenever a line is connected to an attachment, it's drawing vitality, so although your gadget isn't charging, you're despite everything adding to your carbon impression. Basic arrangement? Leave your hardware unplugged consistently, except if you're utilizing them. 3. Less drive. Decide to walk, bicycle, or take the transport, leave the vehicle at home, and you'll be settling on a simple choice with quick outcomes. Urban areas are at long last putting resources into the essential framework to make it simpler not to possess a vehicle. 4. Avoid buying fast fashion. Practically 50% of our dress is made with cotton, and except if it's marked as natural cotton, there's a high possibility that it's hereditarily changed cotton splashed with bunches of pesticides, counting known cancer-causing agents. This can be harming neighboring non-GMO crops, cause water tainting, diminish biodiversity, and impact human well-being. 5. Plant a garden. Making more spaces for plants, grasses, and trees can moderate this impact and lead to better cooling, which will be a need with exacerbating environmental change. Help keep away from the heat island impact by planting trees for concealing, or perhaps attempt a green rooftop or network garden. 6. Eat local and organic. Remember to maintain a strategic distance from prepared nourishments. Handled and bundled food sources are regularly awful for your well-being, not simply the earth. Handling plants are significant polluters, and their items add to well-being pestilences like stoutness, diabetes, and coronary illness. Pick entire nourishments that are better for the planet, and better for your lifespan. 7. Line dry clothes. The customary strategy for line drying your apparel is vastly improved for nature. Anybody can make these basic changes, easy to implement, and are promptly powerful in diminishing your carbon impression. Our activities and decisions eventually have any kind of effect, and us as a whole offer the obligation to do whatever we can to address environmental change, large or little. At what rank we Indians stands among the world? IEA report says China, U.S., and India together represented about 70% of the ascent in vitality request. India's emanations development this year was higher than that of the United States and China, the two greatest producers on the planet, and this was fundamental because of an ascent in coal utilization. China, the United States, and India together represented almost 70% of the ascent in vitality requests. India's per capita discharges were about 40% of the worldwide normal and contributed 7% to the worldwide carbon dioxide treble. The United States, the biggest producer, was answerable for 14%. According to its responsibilities to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, India has vowed to decrease the emanations force of its economy by 2030, contrasted with 2005 levels. It has likewise dedicated to having 40% of its vitality from sustainable sources by 2030 and, as a major aspect of this, introduces 100 GW of sunlight-based force by 2022.